Vampire Academy is an American fantasy comedy horror movie directed by Mark Waters. This movie is an adaptation of the book of the same name. This movie describes about a mysterious academy where vampires, humans, and werewolves live together. The movie opens up with a car accident where a young girl, Lissa Dragomir, loses her family, leaving only her best friend Rose with her. At present, Rose wakes up from her nightmare, which has been haunting her since the accident took place. She goes to her friend Vasilisa, who is having a hard time after she lost her family. Here, we get to know that they have a telepathic bond between each other and are trying to adjust in the normal world after they left their academy a year before. When Rose notices Lissa feeling weak, she goes to the kitchen. Lissa also follows her, and here it is revealed that Lissa is actually a vampire who feeds on human blood. She bites on Rose's shoulder and feeds on her blood. After Lissa is done, Rose notices someone keeping an eye on them through the kitchen window. Seeing this, she informs Lissa that they must leave the place immediately. In the following scene, Lissa and Rose can be seen exiting the building. They notice two guardians, ones who were destined to protect the Moroi. Rose takes the two of them down and proceeds to take Lissa with her. Just then, another guy named Dmitri arrives in front of them, saying that they should return to St. Vladimir's academy. Rose again tries to fight the man, but this time she is easily overpowered and knocked out. In the next scene, Lissa is being taken back to the academy along with Rose. It is then revealed that Lissa is actually a Moroi, a royal member of a magical ancient race who only feeds on blood and needs to be protected. Furthermore, Rose is a Dhampir, which is half Moroi and half human, and their task is to protect Moroi at any cost. As they reach the entrance gate of the academy, a guard's body suddenly falls on their car's bonnet, and Dmitri is sure that they are under attack by the Strigoi, who are blood-sucking evil vampires. Soon, the Guardians fight with the Strigoi, while Lissa and Rose remain inside the car. However, Rose manages to unlock the handcuffs and decides to step out of the vehicle. As soon as she steps out, the Strigoi approaches her out of nowhere. Luckily, more Guardians arrive there and take the Strigoi down. Shortly after, the group enters the academy area, where a large number of Dhampirs and Moroi from across the world come to study. Dhampirs especially learn to combat, while Moroi learn magic to control any of the four elements: fire, earth, water, or air. Some of the Moroi are so special that they rule over the other vampires. Rose is also one of those Moroi, and her leaving the academy had created huge tension in the administration. While they are making their way to the school area, Lissa notices her ex-boyfriend, Aaron, with his new girlfriend, Mia, and feels sad. At the same time, Dmitri takes the girls to their headmistress, Kirova. There, Kirova scolds Rose as she believes that she is the one who influenced Lissa to leave the academy. Right then, Victor, one of the royal Moroi and Lissa's father's close friend, arrives there and requests Kirova to not punish the girls. He also states that Rose has done a fine job keeping Lissa safe. Despite all this, Kirova is still adamant to expel Rose from the academy. However, Dmitri intervenes and tells Kirova that the two girls have a special connection between them, which is very rare. After a lot of efforts, they finally manage to persuade Kirova to let Rose stay in the academy. In the following scene, a thirsty Lissa tries to drink water, but Mia, who studies water magic, splashes the water on her face. Despite Aaron approaching to help Lissa, Mia makes fun of her and sends her away. On the other hand, Rose is attending a Dhampir training where she meets her old classmate Mason. As Rose has not been training for over a year, Mason easily defeats her in a face-off. At the same time, Rose has a vision that Lissa is in a library discussing with a student named Christian. Turns out that Christian was left by his parents and they converted to Strigoi. Though they argue, both of them seem to be attracted to each other. At night, Lissa and Rose together go to the cafeteria where they find volunteer humans who are willingly allowing the Moroi to feed on their blood. Lissa also sits down with one of the ladies to feed herself. There, Victor greets Rose and asks her to take care of his daughter, Natalie, like she does with Lissa. Rose agrees, and later the trio head to a church together. While they are in the church, they hear a loud blast from outside. Upon having a look, they find out that the memorial of Lissa's family has been damaged by someone, threatening Lissa to leave the academy. Because of this, Kirova drags Lissa to a safe place and orders others to go back to their rooms. While leaving, Rose comes across her crush, Jesse, and asks him to meet her the next day at noon. The scene then shifts to an academy's posh settings, where Jesse and Rose make out. Jesse tries to feed on Rose, but she pushes him back. When Jesse forcefully tries again, Dmitri arrives there and pulls Jesse away. At the same time, Rose has a vision of Lissa, who is walking to a dead fox. After reaching her, Lissa admits that she tried her best to bring the fox back to life but failed. In the next class, Mia makes fun of Lissa by passing notes about how she fed on Rose while they were outside the academy. Lissa is taken aback on how Mia knew of this, and hence she walks away from Rose after the class. Later, Rose and Natalie reach Lissa's room searching for her, only to find some threats written on her wall with blood. Natalie licks on the blood and confirms that it is of a Moroi. After a while, Lissa arrives there and Rose immediately suggests they leave the academy. However, Lissa insists that they should stay and investigate the matter. Although reluctant at first, Rose finally agrees to it. After this, Rose leaves Lissa's room and runs into Christian, who is there to check on Lissa. Rose tells him that Lissa does not want to see him and that he should stay away from her. The next day, Rose gets another vision of Lissa, who is using her compulsion power on Mia's friend to extract information about her. Rose then confronts Lissa and reminds her that overusing her powers has effects on both of them. However, Lissa could care less about what she says. Later, Natalie and Rose can be seen stealing Mia's computer and scrolling through her documents. Surprisingly, they come across a folder where they find Mia's picture with Lissa's late brother, Adrian. The girls suspect that Adrian might have dumped her, causing Mia to hate the entire Dragomir family. As time passes by, Lissa starts using the compulsion technique on everyone inside the academy. Seeing this, Rose believes that the power is turning Lissa into someone she is not, and fears that someday if dark forces take over her, she might turn herself into Strigoi. In the next training session with Dmitri, Rose asks about one of her previous teachers, Karp. Here, it is revealed that Karp was the one who suggested Rose to run away from the academy with Lissa. However, Dmitri simply replies that he doesn't know anything about her. This further enrages Rose as she believes that not one in the school wants to talk about Karp. The next day, Rose decides to take matters into her own hands and sneaks into Kirova's room and finds a CD about Karp. When she runs the CD, she gets to know that it's a collection of videos where Karp explains how she chose the darkness to hide her misery and madness. In the following scene, the girls attend a party where Rose sees Lissa hanging out with Aaron while Christian sits alone. Rose then approaches Christian and tells him that Lissa likes him. Later, Lissa starts showing off her magic with fire. However, Rose feels bored and walks out of the place. Lissa follows her and seems happy because she has managed to keep Mia away from them. While they are discussing about Christian, Natalie shows up there surprisingly, causing Rose to nearly attack her. Soon, they hear a Psyhound howling behind them and run away to save their lives. While running, Lissa finds her bag lying in the middle of the St. Vladimir statue, and on opening it, she finds her cat dead inside. She tries to bring the cat back to life, but fails and passes out, with cuts appearing on her hands. Seeing her wounds, Rose gets a vision about Karp, who tells her that Lissa's life is in danger and she needs to take her away from the academy. She also reveals that Lissa will keep getting weaker as she uses her powers. At present, Rose can be seen sharing the information Karp gave her with the administration staff in Kirova, but no one seems to believe her. Kirova still has doubts that Lissa can actually use the compulsion power. Hearing this, Rose replies that Lissa has even used the compulsion power on Kirova. After her continuous begging, Kirova finally agrees to show Rose the remaining records of Karp. Dmitri takes her downstairs and shows her the 6th-day recording of Karp, where he tells that Karp had a nervous breakdown and converted herself into a Strigoi to avoid everything. After that, Rose goes to the library and asks Christian for some help. They search many books and eventually find out that the power Lissa possesses is called Spirit. They also believe that Mia, Kirova, and the Queen are actually conspiring against Lissa. Before they leave the library, Rose hugs Christian, which is noticed by Lissa. Lissa confronts Christian, but he tells her that they are just trying to help her. Angry, Lissa walks away from the place. Rose follows her and tells her about Karp, but this makes her more angry. Accidentally, Rose steps on a hole and breaks her leg. The scene then shifts to the hospital where Dmitri reveals to Rose that she is absolutely fine. Rose pulls the covers up and is surprised to see her legs normal. Rose then rushes to Lissa to find her feeding herself on human blood. She thanks Lissa and the two reconcile. Later, Victor arrives there and suggests that the girls go shopping for the equinox dance. While at the mall, an expensive necklace attracts Rose, but she leaves it as it's out of her budget. At night, while getting ready for the party, Natalie brings a necklace for Rose, telling that her father, Victor, bought it for her. Soon, the girls enter the party, and everyone can be seen staring at them. Later, Lissa dances with Christian while Mason makes Jesse and Ray apologize to Rose for writing threats on Lissa's wall. However, they don't take the blame for harming her cat. Mia also approaches Rose, but she knocks her out in front of everyone. Because of her act, Rose gets abducted inside her room. While sitting inside the room, she gets a vision about Lissa being kidnapped. Kirova also arrives there with a sedative, but Rose outsmarts her and injects her with the sedative instead. In the next scene, Rose arrives at Dimitri's room and asks for help. However, when she notices his appealing body, she cannot stop herself and the two start making love. Soon, Dimitri feels that the necklace Rose is wearing is a love charm and he throws it away. After this, Rose tells Dimitri about Lissa's condition and they leave her in a car to help her. While in the car, Rose also notices Christian inside but says nothing to Dimitri. Rose again gets a vision about Lissa where it is revealed that the one who actually kidnapped her is Victor. Victor is doing all this because he wants to heal him from his deadly disease. When Lissa refuses, Victor calls a blind man and starts torturing her until she finally agrees to heal him. Here, Rose is feeling the same pain that Lissa is going through. Meanwhile, Dimitri and Rose arrive at the place, where Dimitri goes inside and fights with Victor's henchmen. Lissa somehow manages to climb down the pipes, but is soon attacked by Psyhounds. She runs for her life, but a helicopter appears in front of her and she stops. Rose also arrives there and saves Lissa from possible attacks. Elsewhere, Dimitri enters Victor's office and takes down his security guardian. Outside, Lissa, Christian, and Rose are talking with each other when Victor arrives there and shoots Christian. After that, he gets arrested by Dimitri and his friend. Enraged, he commands his hounds to attack Lissa and Rose, but luckily Christian uses his firepower to chase away the Psyhounds. Lissa wants to save Christian but lacks the energy to put any magic into him. Luckily, Rose is there, and she asks Lissa to feed on her. After getting the energy, Lissa revives Christian from death. The next day, Kirova informs Dimitri and Rose that Victor has been kept inside a prison while Natalie is expelled from the academy. Before they can leave, Kirova asks Rose to visit Victor for some time. When she approaches Victor, he tells her that he knew about Lissa's power and was searching for her since then. In the background, we can see the guards falling to the ground one by one. It is then revealed that Natalie has turned herself into a Strigoi to help her father get out of the prison. After she opens Victor's prison lock, she continues fighting with Rose. When Victor tries to leave, he is attacked by Dimitri, who then jumps down the stairs to save Rose. After some back and forth, the duo finally manage to kill Natalie. Later, we are shown that Lissa is reading books and finding more about her powers. She also promises Rose that she will never let the dark forces get over her. After that, she appears on stage with the Queen and declares about her newly discovered powers. She also gives a great speech which motivates and unites the students. In the last scene, Carp is keeping an eye on the academy and planning to attack there soon with an army of Strigoi.